Number 10, Taylor Swift versus E.T. If there is one thing that should be known about Taylor Swift, it's that she can end entire careers with one conversation. In 2015, Taylor was on the red carpet for the Grammy Awards, where she was interviewed by Entertainment Tonight. The woman who interviewed her started the interview by asking her cameraman to pan up and down and literally check Taylor out with a massive camera, which, that's not weird at all. After going along with the bit and telling the camera about the dress, the interviewer then said that she honestly just wanted to look at Taylor's legs because, as she said before the show, Taylor is going to be going home with more than a trophy, perhaps a man. Well, Taylor didn't appreciate that comment or the assumption. She did not laugh and proceeded to tell the interviewer that she would be going home, but just not with any men. She just wanted to go hang out with friends and then maybe home to her cats. While the majority of the interview went well, the interviewers were reprimanded behind the scenes by Taylor herself and her team, and the news of Taylor's dislike for the interviewers made its way up to the top, where the ET executives decided to keep these people off the red carpet for a while. Remember, keep your creepy camera gestures to yourself, lady. Number 9, Vitaly Sedgwick versus everyone. This man has done some truly disgusting things to people for the sake of views. He's grabbed people's legs, attempted to force himself on people. He was even arrested after running on the stage at the Grammys. But his most explosive interaction, and the one that really sealed his fate, was his interaction with Will Smith. Will was walking the red carpet in 2013, giving people interviews, when Ukrainian comedian Vitaly Sedgwick approached him, a man who is unfortunately world famous for being an absolute horror to celebrities. He pretended to be a reporter and started to walk towards Will and tried to give him a kiss on the cheek and mouth. Well, Will obviously shoved him backwards and gave him a little "hey buddy," and then just gave him a little backhand to the face. A team of security following Mr. Smith picked this guy up off the ground and carried him away like a toddler, which he is. Who knew Will was practicing for his Oscar slap all the way back then? Sedgwick was finally reprimanded for his actions, and he was actually made to pay a hefty fine for attempting to force himself on Will Smith, but needless to say, this guy works for himself now and security knows his face. Number 8, Amy Schumer versus Kim and Kanye. In the mid-2010s, comedian Amy Schumer was named one of Time People's top 100 most influential people and was made to attend a red carpet event to celebrate with her fellow influencers, two of whom were Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, the power couple of the century. While discussing the incident on the Graham Norton show, she revealed that the whole thing was a planned prank on Kim and Ye. Her goal was to get them to crack a smile and get some good fun pictures from the event, but Kim and Kanye did not find the situation funny and continued to walk past Amy as she fell in front of them. The best picture is just Kim staring at Amy for a moment, being like, "Oh my god, is that really happening?" While the moment was meant to create a fun scene, it instead made Amy look like she had a grudge towards Kim and Kanye. Now, while not an interview, the incident on the red carpet forced Comedy Central to postpone a season of her show until things were sorted out with Kim, and it turned out not only did Kim not care, but she actually did end up finding this kind of funny in the end. With the two apparently now being close friends, Amy even made a cameo on Kim's new show, The Kardashians. Number 7, Hugh Grant versus Handcuffs. While attending the Dutch premiere of his rom-com Music and Lyrics, Hugh Grant got the shock of a lifetime after a fan got way too excited and took their admiration to a whole new level. Television journalist Silka Sibin approached Grant and he thought that it was an interview, but then she handcuffed herself to him. For about 10 minutes, the patient but frustrated Hugh Grant just waited and watched while several people started snapping pictures left and right. After the fire department finally released them, Sibin was taken away by police. While this may have seemed like your average Hollywood interaction, the news stations she worked for did not appreciate this gag. She was fired from that station, making 2 reporters taken down by the Hugh Meister in his career. Hugh Meister? I don't know. Let's use it. Number 6, Jim Carrey versus the world. Jim Carrey is known for his hilarious personality on and off screen, but he gave Kat Sadler from E! News and Daily Pop an awkward interview on the red carpet at Harper's Bazaar Party in 2017. The interaction started with Jim slowly circling Kat as she attempts to express her confusion and excitement that Jim Carrey is at a Fashion Week event. Was the man known for being an incredible artist bringing that talent to the fashion world? No! He was just mad. By 2017, Jim had made a name for himself as an oddly serious guy who tended to venture into the realm of energies and universal concepts when he gets into deep conversations. He started this conversation with, "This is meaningless." He continued to say that he wanted to find the most meaningless thing he could attend that night. That event was a celebration of icons and celebrities, according to Kat, to which Jim said that he didn't agree, as in he doesn't agree with the concept of icons. He continues to give a small speech about not believing people are really real, that we're all just a field of energy, and that peace lies beyond personality, man. The entire time the interview is taking place, Kat is just visibly uncomfortable and just counting down to the moment that Jim says something funny or even remotely related to fashion, but instead he just shares his thoughts, tells her she has a nice fragrance, and walks away. While Jim's career had already started to slow down at that point, this clip became viral and studios were wondering if he might be a good fit for anything. A lot of scripts with his name on them were rewritten or just simply kept to themselves, right up until 2020 when he made a comeback in the surprisingly fun Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So here's hoping for a third one sometime soon. Bjork versus the Oscars. Next up on our list is not only the most memorable outfit from any award show, but it's also the strangest. In 2001, musician Bjork made an appearance at the Academy Awards where she was nominated for Best Original Song from Dancer in the Dark. She appeared on the red carpet with a massive swan draped over herself, and while thankfully not a real swan carcass just, drenched over her shoulders, the dress was a creation from designer Marjan Bajowski, meaning someone took the time and effort to make this dress. Thankfully, I'm not the only person who thought this was a little bit of a weird choice. A lot of comments from that evening include people calling her a duck, claiming she should be institutionalized, and one celebrity just kind of looked at her and was like, in the years that followed, the dress was parodied several times. Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin James even wore the same outfits on the Academy stage a few years later to attempt to poke fun at Bjork, but all they did was look silly and make the world giggle. Number 4, Mayim Bialik versus E.T. Mayim is a hilarious woman, okay? She is best known these days for her role as Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory and for being an absolute slayer on the red carpet. For those who don't know, she has a legitimate background as a neuroscientist. She started out as an actor when she was like 12 years old, appearing in commercials and sitcoms in the 80s, but as time went on, she shifted her focus from acting to math and science, and actually went to school for neuroscience and Hebrew studies before going straight into a PhD program. She actually met someone in school that she fell in love with and divorced, and is the mother of 2 younglings with. This woman is awesome. Even more awesome was her response to a bit of a rough question, and under-researched one at that. So the interviewers clearly didn't prep for this red carpet event, but meant nothing by this question. Mayim was asked if people thought that she could solve calculus in real time at the drop of a hat. She responded by reminding the interviewers that she actually did train in calculus for years because she's a neuroscientist, and both of the hosts just looked horrified and said, well, a little tidbit to the audience, hey, she really is a neuroscientist. Over 300,000 people watched that happen, and the responses were mixed. Some people felt that it was just a little bit of a mix-up, but a lot of people bashed the interviewers for not doing the bare minimum before asking her a question like that on live TV. They continued to be hosts, but now when people know Mayim is on her way to the red carpet, research is priority number 1. Number 3, the Oscars in 2012. The Oscars red carpet saw a couple of really fun moments in 2012, mostly caused by Sacha Baron Cohen. First thing that happened was Ryan Seacrest doing his best when suddenly Sacha appeared with an entourage and fully decked out in his General Aladdin gear from the film The Dictator. He was telling Ryan that he wanted to come tonight and spread the ashes of his fallen friend and doubles tennis partner Kim Jong-il. The situation got heated after Sacha dropped Kim's ashes all over Ryan. Ryan brushed them off quite literally and honestly took the situation in stride. He was just smiling and trying to get the substance off of himself. Ryan admitted at first he wasn't sure if there was anything in that urn, and he knew Sacha was gonna do something, but there was 100% something in that can. The best part though came after the situation when the cleaning crew came over to vacuum up the mess, and did it while Jason Segel was making his way through the crowd. The person cleaning the mess ignored him and just vacuumed over his feet. Jason is shocked and takes a step back, and there was also a wardrobe malfunction for Jennifer Lopez, who accidentally had a tip slip when she was presenting Best Costume Design. There have been many shocking Oscar moments over the years, but the 2012 red carpets and its, ceremony were just a bit much. Thankfully though, it was a memorable night, no questions asked. Number 2, Gary Busey versus Jennifer Garner. Gary Busey is an interesting and controversial fella in his own right. He was a big movie star and then arrested, and then he became everyone's sleep paralysis demon. I'm sorry, I got a little scared there for a sec. In 2008, he gave the world a little heads up that he might not be all there upstairs, because Jennifer Garner, best known for Elektra or her new film The Family Switch, which is not great, was on the red carpet making her way to her seat when suddenly she was approached by Gary. Someone asked him if he knew or had met Jennifer before, and without saying anything, he just leaned in and kissed her on the neck. Her face is one of pure shock and confusion. When Gary did not immediately step back, she called for her husband at the time, Ben Affleck, to step in between them. Busey has been blacklisted from Hollywood for a lot of reasons, but this is just one of the many examples why. And at number 1, John Travolta versus Idina Menzel. A while back in 2014, John Travolta flubbed the name of one of the most famous women in musical theater history. Because at the Oscars that year, he was supposed to introduce Idina Menzel ahead of her performance of Let It Go, because she was, Elsa from Frozen, fun fact. But she was also Elphaba, the musical Wicked, and a ton of other shows. She's just incredible. But for this event, she was promoting Frozen and showcasing a piece of music that ended up getting stuck in everyone's head for the rest of their lives. Please help me. And John Travolta was just so confident in his delivery of her name. He introduced the audience to the wickedly talented, one and only Adele Dazeem. The moment spawned a lot of parody Twitter accounts and even an Adele Dazeem name generator that turned people like Jared Leto into Jed Lopez, which I think is better, and Matthew McConaughey into Michael Mazzoline. That sounds like an X-rated superstar, you know what I mean? The following year, the two appeared on stage together where Idina decided to drop a little revenge. She was set to introduce the next round of nominees, and as a little joke, the Oscars decided to bring her and John onto the stage together. She introduced John by his new name, Gulam Gazingo, and the interaction between them was a little forced, but it was nice to see that they played the whole thing off for fun instead of making it an actual incident. And since then, John triple checks things before he goes on stage, which better safe than sorry, bud. Number 10, Cole and Dylan Sprouse. Of course, Cole and Dylan were the young men who portrayed Zac and Cody on the hit series Sweet Life of Zac and Cody and its spin-off sequel series Sweet Life on Deck. The twins worked together for a long time. In fact, their first acting gig together was sharing the role of that little kid from Big Daddy that Adam Sandler spends the entire movie watching after. Because when you have kids on set, they can only spend a certain amount of time physically, so they got twins to play a lot of people. During their time on the show, they were apparently nothing but professionals, with the woman who played their mom, Kim Rhodes, revealing that Dylan actually refused to say some of the jokes written for his character Zac, as they were meant to fat shame another actor, and even at 11 years old, this man had morals. As time went on and the twins got older, they started to appear less and less together, and eventually Dylan took a break from acting altogether. Cole got himself a cozy little gig working on the show Riverdale as the Archie comic character Jughead. That show finally ended though, so he may be in a new movie sometime soon. Dylan made a major shift and has opened his own brewery where he crafts and sells mead, a type of no-no juice made from sugar and honey that is apparently very good. Before they moved into full adult careers though, they actually attended NYU together, with Cole studying archaeology and Dylan majoring in video game design. So just fun facts, keep an eye out on the game credits for the next time you beat something. The two have not worked together in a professional sense since Sweet Life on Deck, and of course the Sweet Life movie that is odd but very fun. When Dylan was asked if he would ever collaborate with Cole again, he said yes, but that it wouldn't be on screen if they could help it, because he doesn't really want to play twins in a movie anymore, which kinda makes sense. Dylan has been in a handful of films since the Disney days, but Cole is usually left out of the picture. Number 9, Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. Despite not sharing the same last name, Emilio and Charlie were associated with each other a lot back in the day. Sons to father Martin Sheen, Charlie and Emilio were set to follow in their dad's footsteps, and they did so pretty well. Emilio appeared in cult classics like The Mighty Ducks and of course The Breakfast Club. Meanwhile, Charlie was in a ton of movies in the 80s and 90s and eventually made a home on the show 2.5 Men for a little bit. Just because they had successful careers does not mean that they got along very well. The family has had its struggles with substance control and no-no juice, mostly on Charlie's part, with Charlie Sheen being one of the more infamous celebrities there is. The family did their best to come together when Charlie was diagnosed with his little condition. Charlie was diagnosed with a and when their father had to undergo a quadruple bypass. In terms of acting, they have appeared together on screen a handful of times, but as time has gone on, they've grown further and further apart, leaving each other to their own devices. Charlie's troubles became public in the early 2000s, being seen as an unhinged man who was wily and more than likely under the influence of no-no snow. He was eventually fired from 2.5 Men and has yet to be in anything new or noteworthy since Scary Movie 5. Meanwhile, Emilio reprised his Mighty Ducks role for a Disney Plus show, something that he has openly been against for most of his career. According to his Breakfast Club co-stars, he's the only one who doesn't keep in touch because he likes to keep the past in the past and believes it should be left that way. Number 8. The Baldwin Boys. Alec Baldwin is not the only man with that Baldwin last name. He actually has 5 siblings altogether, each more Baldwin-y than the last. Put them next to each other, you can't pick them out. Despite having 3 brothers who have each gone into the film industry in one form or another, you would be surprised to know that they rarely work together. Steven has some pretty hardcore religious beliefs that seem to clash with the beliefs of the rest of his family. Willie Baldwin is another actor in the family, working in movies like Candyland, Fair Game, and The Flatliners. Of all the Baldwin boys, he seems to have the least dirty laundry, but he's a Baldwin, so hey, who knows? Danny Baldwin is the second oldest of the crew, and again is an actor, usually playing in smaller roles or side characters in movies like Vampires and Bound. Together, they make the Baldwin Boys, a powerhouse of acting family members, and you would think with all this star power and family tightness that they would make at least one movie together, right? Well, they have only ever appeared together on screen once, and it was in the documentary My Promise to PJ. Apart from that, they only star in separate films. Probably because if you put more than one of them in the same room on the same screen, they morph into one Baldwin being. It's horrifying. Number 7. Ashley and Jessica Simpson. Both Ashley and her sister Jessica had some pretty solid music careers. I would be lying if I didn't mention that their posters were on my sister's wall until she was a teen, not to mention the music that came out of there, good lord. As the younger sister, Ashley penned music about her role in the family and her feelings about living in her sister's shadow. According to the pair, Jessica was not a fan of her sister either. As the years went by, people were waiting for the Simpson sisters to release an album together, but of course, that never really happened. Instead, they made themselves famous in their own careers, and they did a great job doing it. They have never refused to work together, but there was clearly something going on between them. But whatever that bad thing might have been, it seems to have vanished, because following the release of Jessica Simpson's memoir Open Book in 2020, Ashley promoted the book on her Instagram, telling fans how proud she was of her sister for writing such a beautiful piece of work. And at the end of the day, they're just a reminder that sibling relationships can be a little complicated, but that there is still love under the surface of struggle. Number 6. Kendall and Kylie Jenner. The Kardashian-Jenner family are full of complicated people. If complicated means downright cruel. Kendall and Kylie are among the youngest of the family, and apparently are the sisters with the least amount in common. The sisters may work together on their shows, like Keeping Up with the Kardashian and its newest reboot, The Kardashians, but in terms of their real-world entrepreneurial ventures, they could not be further from each other. The sisters disagree on everything from parenting styles to the clothes that they wear. There was one instance where Kylie wore a dress that Kendall had already picked out, which caused a massive argument. But something tells me that's not even close to the silliest thing that they have argued over. These sisters are known for being complicated and evil, with Kylie lying about her fortune and how her makeup is made, and Kendall being Kendall. These are not the only family members that will be making an appearance on this list, so let's save the real juicy stuff for that entry. Number 5. Beyonce and Solange Knowles. This sibling relationship has had some serious ups and downs over the years, but they have certainly not been kept a secret. Despite both being major players in the world of music, they have never really collaborated together on a full-fledged album. While Beyonce certainly gained more recognition than her sister, Solange fostered her own fan base with the release of her album Seat at the Table. While they may not work together, they are currently not angry with each other in any way, shape, or form. In fact, the sisters appear to be each other's biggest supports. When they were young, they would work together now and then, but never in anything truly professional. The sisters do everything else together though. They go on dinner dates, do family stuff, and of course attend each other's live shows whenever the opportunity presents itself. The siblings are in fact very protective of each other. One time Beyonce even saved her sister's life after she had an allergic reaction at her wedding and almost passed away. Maybe one day soon they will collaborate for some new tunes or reboot some old ones with a new style. Number 4. Rob Kardashian and Kylie Jenner. Rob is actually the instigator in this situation after failing to appear at a party being thrown in his honor. That was the start of the argument, but the continuation came from behind the scenes drama. Rob was dating a woman named Black China, with a Y, when the situation took place. She was pregnant with their first child together and the family wanted to celebrate. However, when they invited Rob to the shindig, the family made it very clear that if he did not attend, that China was also not welcome on her own. Apparently this stems from some Kylie drama. Kylie's longtime longtime boyfriend Tyga was engaged to China and is the father of her first child, Sung King Cairo. After Tyga and Kylie became official, Kylie and China began shading each other online, tossing mean tweets and Instagram posts back and forth. When Rob and China announced their surprise engagement, the two women got together and let bygones be bygones, while also discussing the entire thing for money and views on a documentary. So hey, win-win, right? Number 3. Madonna and Anthony Ciccone. When people talk about Madonna, you rarely hear the mention of her having any siblings, especially famous ones. That's cause they are not famous, and in fact, Madonna's older brother passed away after spending a solid portion of his life in a no juice-induced stupor under a bridge. According to Madonna, he insisted that the entire family had deserted him and just didn't care about him, but that wasn't true. Madonna actually released a heartfelt tribute to her brother a few days after his passing, and by all accounts, the family just wanted to take care of him and keep him comfortable, but something caused him to refuse the help. Madonna and the rest of her family refused to reveal what happened to him or what the cause of his passing was, but it seems that he was just pretty sick for a really long time, even spending his last days in a nursing home being cared for 24/7. Madonna tried to get her brother to work with her in some way, but as time went by, he got more and more into his own world and, unfortunately, passed away. Number 2. Paris and Conrad Hilton. Paris made her career working in something. Honestly, I'm just pretty sure she was one of the first people to embody the idea of being famous for being famous. She had a reality show, some business ventures, and of course the handful of acting gigs that she's done. What you may not know is that she has a brother named Conrad who did not follow in his sister's footsteps and instead got arrested for being a little brat. Entitled people are a lot of fun for us, eh? During a trip to London a few years back, Conrad decided that it would be a great idea to berate the cabin crew and flight attendants, reportedly calling other passengers peasants and making children cry with his threats of life ending and his profanity-fueled tirades. According to the crew, his onboard shenanigans started the moment that they took off and continued until they landed 10 hours later. The first thing he did was take his seatbelt off as the plane was still taking off, and he started pacing in the aisles as it ascended. He complained that someone was giving him a stink eye, and when he was told to get back to his seat, he started getting unruly and threatening the lives of crew members and even the co-pilot, who he also told that he would be fired. This spoiled little brat literally told the crowd of people that his daddy could pay for this entire plane, its passengers, and its crew, like he did last time. According to the flight attendant assigned to monitor him on this flight, the outburst wasn't really random. Conrad had just split up with his girlfriend and was desperate for some sweet Mary Jane. After smoking in both the upper and lower cabins of the plane, though, he passed out and was handcuffed to his seat just to be safe. And at number 1, Dakota and Elle Fanning. The Fanning sisters discovered their love of acting pretty early on in life. They used to perform elaborate scenes around their house growing up, and the two have worked together before, but not recently. The first film that they collaborated on is the 2001 dramatic piece I Am Sam. Such a good movie, go watch it if you haven't. Dakota went on to star in a ton of movies like the Twilight series, Ocean's 8, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Squiggy. Elle is more recognizable from projects like Maleficent and the Hulu series The Great. Now, while they may not work together on screen, these sisters owned their own production company called Llewellyn Pictures. Producing movies with the siblings sounds like a lot of fun, so hey, good for them, keep making those movies. Number 10, Tom Sandoval. Vanderpump Rules stars Tom Sandoval made headlines when accusations that he cheated on his longtime girlfriend Ariana Madix with their co-star Raquel Levy. Well, news of the Tom Tom restaurant co-owner's affair with Levy's broke on March 3rd. Sources told People that the affair had been going on for 6 months, leaving Madix blindsided and devastated by the revelation. In a clip from season 10's finale of Vanderpump Rules, Madix explained to friends Katie Maloney and Shani Shea how she found out about her boyfriend of 9 years, Sandoval, cheating on her with their co-star, while also revealing that the affair had been going on for several months rather than 6. Sandoval and Lee have respectively issued statements acknowledging the allegations within the week the cheating news broke. Both have opened up on the months-long affair and have apologized since. Number 9, Ariana Grande. The pop star is set to star in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana Ariana Grande plays Glinda the Good, and Ethan Slater is Buck, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. It's ironic that Ariana is the good witch though, as she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan was married to a woman named Lily J since 2018, and they actually welcomed their first child in 2022. Apparently, Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set of Wicked and started dating behind the scenes. However, an on-set insider shared that information with Slater's wife, who was, furious. While the couple have agreed to raise their child as co-parents, Ethan officially filed for a divorce in July of this year and is still with Ariana so far as we know. Number 8, Natalie Portman. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that Thor: Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband, Benjamin Millipede, will be separating following a very public and messy affair on Ben's part. Ben, who I assume is named after a kid's cartoon, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist. While Portman was mad, she initially tried to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on the relationship. The couple had met on the set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, with Ben acting as a scriptwriter for the project. While the affair has shaken their relationship, when asked about the issues by US Weekly, he said that he shares her pain and that he is still working on a new script for her. So they still work together professionally, but emotionally, they've checked out. Number 7, MGK. When the couple, who announced their engagement last January, sparked rumors of a split after 3 years together, Megan posted a series of pictures on Instagram with a pointed caption from Beyonce's Lemonade album, which, if you didn't know, is all about infidelity. On top of this, she deleted every trace of MGK from her Instagram page and unfollowed him. In fact, she raised eyebrows by unfollowing everyone except for Harry Styles, Timothée Chalamet, and notably MGK's long-standing nemesis, Eminem. It wasn't surprising that Megan's usual behavior prompted people to speculate that herself and MGK might have called it quits after he was found cheating. Megan topped off the weekend's events by proceeding to deactivate her entire Instagram account. By February 13th, a source informed people that the two had not called things off, but claimed that Megan had apparently gone as far as removing her engagement ring, which, FYI, is specifically designed to cause pain when she does that. Apparently the band has little spikes on it that jam into her finger if she pulls it off. That's fun. The final reports claimed that they had gotten into a spat, but that it got blown out of proportion. Megan publicly defended MGK's guitarist Sophie Lloyd online, who was the alleged mistress in the situation, but there seems to be no proof that anything ever took place, and the couple are currently working through their issues and things seem to have turned around for the better. Number 6, Steve Harvey. Steve was trending on Twitter for quite a while thanks to a couple of situations, one that actually happened and one that never happened. He seemingly fired his social media manager over a negative tweet regarding comedians and is now having to hear rumors about his wife Marjorie Bridges cheating on him. Harvey, who is 66, shared a video suggesting that he fired his social media manager after they posted a tweet urging followers to name a comedian that does not make them laugh. Steve posted a video explaining the situation and claimed that wasn't his style and it wasn't going to happen again. The morning following that post, rumors started circulating that his wife Marjorie is seeking a divorce. According to the internet, she was caught having an affair with the chief and bodyguard. But fun fact, that didn't happen, and the internet just really wanted Steve to have been cheated on for some reason when he is one of the best people on the planet who constantly shares his past with people to inspire and give hope. So, Steve, if you're somehow watching this, first of all, why? Second of all, you are a legend and 100% no cheating in your life. So, sorry if you hoped for more. Number 5, P. Diddy. The rap star Young Miami confirmed that she and Mr. Sean Combs, P. Diddy, are no longer together. The couple went public with their relationship in June of last year, but let everybody know that it wasn't exclusive. They said that at one point they were together every day of the week and basically lived together, letting the internet call it whatever they wanted. To double down on the claim, anytime that they've been asked if they're official, they must list the people they've been with outside of each other, like they're all alibis in a court case or something. This past year, the world was shocked when Sean welcomed his 7th child into the world with a woman named Dana Tran, while the pair had decided to keep things private. Apparently, this wasn't part of the deal. Miami has made it very clear that Sean is no longer a man in her life in any way, shape, or form. So, while Sean is stuck raising another baby and apparently dealing with some pretty harsh rumors right now, Miami will be sipping poolside, surrounded by her lovers. I feel bad for whoever has to clean that pool. Number 4, Avril Lavigne. This year's shocking reports hit the internet claiming Avril Lavigne had called off her engagement to Mod's son. TMZ's insiders claim that things had been on and off for a while as the couple tried to mend their romance, but then when they got in touch with the Karma Singers team, a rep declared the last thing he heard was the couple had been engaged, and that was only 3 days prior. prior, so anything else would be news to him. Avril had been spotted out and about with a man named Tyga, who she claims is just a friend, but the internet likes to gossip, so the headlines were Avril cheats on Mod Sun. A week after his tour started and the news broke, he posted a series of photos on his Instagram making references to a broken heart and knowing there is a plan for everyone. He thanked his fans and then went dark. Since then, the two have been drenched in rumors, but the only thing that has been confirmed is they now reside in Splitsville. Number 3, Jesse Rutherford. When the news first broke of Billie Eilish and Jesse getting together, the internet drowned them in negative comments, calling to question why she was dating someone 10 years older than herself. To poke fun at this, the couple dressed as a baby and an elderly man on their first Halloween together, the type of thing that would become the norm in their lives. The couple were always spotted wearing matching clothes or outlandish outfits, even making their red carpet debut while wearing matching Gucci pajamas at the 11th annual LACMA Art and Film Gala. The couple were also known for their very public displays of affection. The PDA and inside jokes were the foundations of this relationship, and they seemed happy together until this past May, when the news broke the pair would be splitting up. Claiming it to be a mutual decision, it was later speculated that the split was due to Jesse getting busy behind Billie's back. Whether that spark just fizzled out or something darker has taken place, Jesse and Billie will be fine, and they'll find new people soon. So, look at that. Just look at these two side by side. They are goth king and queen. This man's eye tattoo is staring at me. Number 2, Lily Reinhart. Cole Sprouse and Lily met on the set of Riverdale in 2016 while filming the pilot episode for the series that finally ended after being the most confusing series of all time. I had to stop after season 3 because everyone started playing D&D and Stranger Things came out, so there you go. Anyway, they fell in love playing Jughead and Betty, having a relationship that lasted like 7 years, but in 2020, started to go downhill. They were plagued by cheating rumors. Things had apparently become heavy behind the scenes, according to Cole. Towards the end of that year, they confirmed the split online. However, this year, Cole spoke out about the breakup while having a cancer stick in the middle of an interview, claiming that he didn't want to get too deep into the topic, but that it was a mutual decision. Lily began receiving violent and threatening messages following the interview as well as the end of the show. The past few weeks, rumors have been arising once more, and fans are becoming online detectives again to uncover the truth. And at number 1, Sebastian Leggett. This year, Becky G hit the 2023 iHeartRadio Awards red carpet without her engagement ring on. She attended the ceremony, at which she took home the award for Best Latin Pop Song of the Year for her and Karol G's collaboration Mammy. On Tuesday, March 27th, the same day her fiancé, Sebastian Leggett, seemingly confessed that he cheated on his girlfriend of 6 years on Instagram. He posted that over the previous few weeks, during a moment he deeply regretted, a 10-minute lap in judgment resulted in an extortion plot. The 30-year-old soccer player shared the information on his Instagram after a fan claimed to have proof that he was unfaithful to Becky G. The fan was claiming that Seb had a tryst with a woman while out at a club in Madrid last year. They allegedly had receipts of the affair, including videos, audio, text, and so much more. The relationship seems to have crumbled, with the latest being Becky is single and Sebastian is trying to figure out incognito mode on his phone. Number 10, VMAs from 2015. 2015 VMAs were just start to finish rough. Miley Cyrus hosted that year, which was a bad idea. Not that she did a bad job, but she was in the midst of a feud with Nicki Minaj. Nicki called her out when she took to the stage to accept her Best Hip Hop award, asking her what was good. Miley had just talked trash about her in the New York Times, and there was a brief back and forth, but all in all, it could have been way worse. Oh yeah, it did get worse. On top of dropping a numerous amount of F-bombs during the show, there was a wardrobe malfunction for Miley. At one point in the show, she did a bit where she was holding part of a drape over herself while changing, but the drape slipped and revealed her bare chest to the world. No censor was able to catch it at the moment, and any footage now is of course blurred, but that's what happens when you do it live. It wasn't just Miley that caused issues. Kanye West also made a long-winded speech that was kind of a rant, kind of a truth bomb, but mostly nonsense. The speech derailed the flow of the show and was just a little peek into the madman that was being created. Oh, and to top it all off, no Beyonce, no Madonna, no Lady Gaga. Why? Number 9, Michael's birthday speech. Travel back to 2002 with me for a moment. It's just a jump to the left. It's a musical thing. On August 29th, the VMAs took place on what also happened to be Michael Jackson's birthday. In case you forgot, Michael was the Thriller guy, Macaulay Culkin's best friend. You should not forget him. In honor of Michael Jackson and in celebration, MTV threw a birthday party during the event. Britney Spears was tasked with presenting Michael and delivering his birthday cake. During his speech to set up Michael's arrival, she praised him as an incredible performer and referred to him as the artist of the millennium. Things got a little awkward when Michael took the stage and started giving a speech, thanking the audience for giving him the Artist of the Millennium award. In one of the most uncomfortable moments in MTV's history, Michael Jackson started describing his childhood and how appreciative he was for the honor being bestowed upon him. The crowd was confused but ultimately decided to play along and gave him a massive round of applause. When Michael found out about the incident, he was actually more giggly than anything else. According to his management team at the time, he thought it was hilarious and felt like the biggest fool in the world. A happy birthday indeed. Number 8, Oscar Streaker. This is by far the oldest entry on this list, dating back to 1974. During the Oscar ceremony, as the host David Niven was introducing Elizabeth Taylor, who was presenting the award for Best Picture, as he was making a speech literally referencing how the world was having a bit of a nervous breakdown and that films provided an escape from reality, a man wearing nothing but his mustache and his birthday suit ran across the stage, throws up a peace sign, and disappears off the camera. He never says a single word the entire time he's up there. After Niven had a bit of a chuckle, he told the crowd that this was bound to happen, but was it? Even in 1974, it was pretty difficult to get into the Oscars without an invitation. Robert Opel, the man with the mustache, made his way through security by posing as a journalist, and while behind the scenes, he cut a hole in a large and expensive piece of curtain that was supposed to be used for projecting images, and then made it to the other side of the stage. It was later revealed that this was actually somewhat planned, as the man was encouraged by a producer to make an appearance, and to do what he did when Niven said his lines, which was a strange and memorable moment for sure. Number 7, Miss Universe. Getting the name wrong for an award show moment is one thing, and at the Oscars, there are at least a ton of people who can share in your disappointment if that ever happens. But in 2015, Steve Harvey, the host of Family Feud, was the host of the Miss Universe pageant, bringing women from all around the globe to compete for the title of Miss Universe. As Steve went on to announce the winner, he confidently exclaimed that Miss Colombia, who was really the first runner-up, was the winner, when actually it was Miss Philippines. The mistake was not his fault though. During the rehearsal, he was only supposed to say 2 names, the runner-up and the winner, but last minute they changed it to where he had to say 3 names, which really just threw him off and created a lot of chaos. The teleprompter said 1 name, but someone in his ear told him to just read the name on the card that he was holding. Those were 2 different names, and a fumble took place. He went backstage and got told he did a great job, but then he was told he said the wrong name, and instead of waiting for the news to come out the next day, Steve walked back on stage, revealed he made a mistake, and to the devastation of one woman and the delight of another. He received a lot of flack for this moment, but again, not really his fault. Number 6, Moonlight mix-up. This is one of the few live TV fumbles I actually got to see happen live, and I was just as confused as the rest of the world. In 2017, at the Oscar ceremony, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway appeared on stage to present an award for Best Film. They opened an envelope and read the name out loud. At first, Faye was a little confused, as it was later revealed that the envelope said Emma Stone La La Land because she was accidentally handed a copy of the winners from Best Actress in a leading role. Because it said La La Land, she confidently told the audience that La La Land won the Oscar. As the crew from the project flooded the stage, Warren and Faye just looked confused until the stage was overflowing with excited cast and crew ready to accept their Oscars. However, one moment later, the director of the film, Damien Chazelle, saw the envelope and addressed the audience. A mistake had been made and they didn't win. A stagehand jogged to them, just bolted across the room, handed them the real winner's name, which was Moonlight, who had won Best Picture that year, not La La Land. There is a moment of people thinking it's some kind of a joke, but the director was being very sincere. The best part of this moment, Ryan Gosling is in the background, the lead of the movie and a nominee for Best Actor, and all he is doing is trying to contain his laughter. He wasn't even upset, it was more like a "you gotta be kidding me" type deal. Something tells me that Faye and Warren won't be asked to present any awards anytime soon. Number 5, Adele Dazeem. A while back in 2014, John Travolta flubbed the name of one of the most famous women in musical theater history. At the Oscars that year, he was supposed to introduce Idina Menzel ahead of her performance of Let It Go, cause in case you didn't know, she voices Elsa. She was also Elphaba in the musical Wicked and a ton of other stuff, but I can't geek out about that right now. For this event, she was promoting the film Frozen and showcased a piece of music that became one of the most popular songs for the next 3 years. It's probably still in your head right now. He was so confident in his delivery, he introduced the audience to the wickedly talented, one and only Adele Dazeem. The moment spawned some parody Twitter accounts, and there's even an Adele Dazeem random name generator that's turned people like Jared Leto into Jed Lopez and Matthew McConaughey into Michael Mazzoline. Kind of like that one. The following year, the two appeared on stage together again, where Idina decided to drop some revenge. She was set to introduce the next round of nominees, and as a little joke, the Oscars executives decided to invite John Travolta back to team up with Adele. She introduced him by his new name, Glom Gazingo. The interaction between them seemed a little bit forced, but it was nice that they played the whole thing off as funny rather than an actual incident. Since then, John is supposed to triple check everything before he presents and has to practice pronouncing names constantly. Number 4, Will Smith versus Chris Rock. In 2022, Chris Rock was presenting at the 94th annual Oscar ceremony when he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. Rock expressed his excitement to see her in a fictional G.I. Jane movie, and immediately following the joke, which was very funny and landed for everyone else, Rock stood in confusion because Will Smith started making his way to the stage. What's going on? Well, Will adjusted his jacket, took a firm stance, and clocked Chris right across his cheeks. He winded up his hand first to conjure the ultimate amount of force, and initially this was seen as a planned joke or something, but then Will started shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth, adding a couple F-bombs in there. Chris handled the situation pretty well, and he kept his cool, laughing it off for the camera, and he brought out the next award presenter. He was professional and was quick to get the night back on track, but unfortunately about an hour later, Will Smith won an Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role because he played, Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena, in a movie. But during his speech, he gave a half-hearted apology for his actions before claiming the situation was due to his months of portraying the father on set, leaving him with an extreme paternal sense to protect his family. Unfortunately for Will, the slap was enough to get him banned from the Oscars indefinitely. And on top of that, he seemingly canceled himself, now being seen as an aggressive man with no impulse control. He was fired from upcoming projects, and right now he just sits at his home polishing his one and only Oscar next to one single lit candle in the darkest room of his mega mansion. Number 3, Adrien Brody and Halle Berry. We're popping back again to 2003 at the Academy Awards, where Halle Berry presented Adrien Brody with the award for Best Actor in a Leading Role. Normally, when you accept an award like this, you walk on stage, thank the person who announced you, and give a little speech. But instead, Adrien grabbed Halle Berry's face and pulled her in close, planting one right on her. At the time, the incident was brushed off and nothing was thought of it, but a couple of years ago, Halle admitted that the moment was unplanned and she had no idea what was happening. At the time, this moment was seen as comedic or just some fun between friends, but in 2023, the moment feels a lot darker and it's pretty clear that Halle was uncomfortable. Number 2, Jennifer Lawrence. This is one of the more memorable award show moments of all time that she may never live down. In 2013, while walking up the stage to accept her Oscar for Best Actress, Jennifer took a little tumble and tripped on her dress. She stood giggling for a moment, but eventually made her way to the stage. But the following year, she fell again, only this time on the red carpet, and again the next year. People started to notice a pattern and started to think that maybe she was just doing it on purpose to appear more grounded. Not some Hollywood elite who knows how to walk properly, because if you're not famous, then you can't walk straight. Those are the rules. Eventually, she got her footing down and has not made any more on-air tumbles in recent history, but we can chalk up the moments to Jen wearing a dress that was a little bit just too long and not paying attention to where she was stepping, but that's about it. And at number 1, the Kanye snub. Now, there are so many reasons that Kanye West is banned from attending another VMA show in his life, and most award shows. Now, we could chalk it up to him being a cuckoo. After all, he was fired from basically every company he worked for when he posted some pretty bad tweets that I will not get into. But the reality is that Kanye was banned in the mid-2010s following several public mishaps, as well as one onstage incident that people still talk about today. The incident took place in 2009 when Taylor Swift was trying to accept her award for Best Female Artist of the Year. Kanye stormed the stage, took the mic from her hand, and told everyone that he was gonna let her finish, but that Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time, guys. He didn't sound that nerdy, but Taylor still jokes about the incident to this day. While she was in Mexico City this year for her Eras tour, she took to the stage to play her piano and the crowd started chanting her name. She said that having someone interrupt you by chanting your name is actually the best way to be interrupted, and she should know. Kanye was issued a ban from the following year, but he has since received a lifetime ban from the VMAs and and from his fame in general. Number 10, Russell Brand. The comedian turned actor Russell Brand may be best known for roles like All the Snow and Get Him to the Greek and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, or maybe for his musical chops with his real fake band Infant Sorrow. But what many people may not know about the Brand Man is that awards shows have always been his guilty pleasure. Russell was a regular audience member, and eventually he was asked to attend as a full-fledged host for MTV's VMAs. The hosting gig has been debated by fans as both being great for his career and a career ender. He decided to take time away from the artists and joke about the American president at the time, Barack Obama, and former president George W. Bush. He said a lot of stuff that I can't repeat on the internet, literally calling Barack Obama another word for mentally challenged, and another one that means cat. Following his time as host, MTV decided that he was not the best fit for their program. The VMAs are supposed to be a fun night celebrating talented artists around the world, and instead, Russell turned it into a political stand-up routine. Considering he's not allowed back to the MTV Awards and, all the dark stuff that's come out about him this year, go check stuff out about that, he is not allowed at any awards shows ever again. Number 9, Amber Heard. Amber Heard is back to work after having her career put on hold while she participated in one of the most televised and highly debated celebrity court cases in history. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard got into a deep court battle over an op-ed she released back in 2016, in which she claimed that Johnny was a tyrant who was physically and emotionally damaging towards her during their relationship. Johnny won the trial, and both himself and Amber were good to get back to work. Johnny has been working on some more dramatic pieces and spending time on his music. Meanwhile, Amber got back into the saddle and started to film her latest project, In the Fire, which, surprise, she also produced. While the movie does exist, it's nowhere near the level it needs to be in order to get any nominations. There have been a ton of incredible movies and TV shows to come out of this year that do deserve nominations and wins. Her movie is not one of them, and so far she has not been invited to the ceremony. Number 8, Ellen DeGeneres. Now, before she was outed as the manager of a toxic work environment, she was actually a very well-respected TV host and celebrity. In 2014, she used her power to get a bunch of actors together for a selfie. The selfie featured the faces of Meryl Streep, Channing Tatum, Julia Roberts, Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, Brad Pitt, Lupita Nyong'o, Peter Nyong'o, Angelina Jolie, Jared Leto, and one man whose name I'm not allowed to say because it'll get us demonetized, so let's call him the Spaceman. So many celebrities got together and the photo went viral overnight, but as I said, Ellen and her influence were a ticking clock heading for doomsday. Eventually, former employees got together to release statements claiming that they were subjected to rude behavior and just straight up bullying from both Ellen herself and several high-ranking executives. As this information was released, her show got canceled along with her career, and being a former TV host would usually mean that you're on track to host the Oscars or Golden Globes or any one of these events, but it's looking like she may not be invited to any awards shows anytime soon, especially not the Golden Globes. If Ellen ever wants to host a show for her own again, it'll have to be a self-tape docu-series that she sells as physical DVDs in a strip mall. Remember DVDs? I say that like they no longer exist in Walmarts. Number 7, Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. This is one of the few live TV fumbles that I actually got to see happen live, and I was just as confused as the rest of the world, I'm sure. In 2017, at the Oscar ceremony, Warren and Faye appeared on stage to present the award for Best Film. They opened an envelope and read the name out loud. At first, Faye was a little confused because it was later revealed that the envelope said Emma Stone La La Land, as she was accidentally handed a copy of the winner's name for Best Actress in a Leading Role. Because it said La La Land, she confidently told the audience that La La Land had won the Oscar. As the crew from the project flooded the stage, Warren and Faye continued to look a little confused until the stage is just overflowing with excited people ready to accept their Oscars. However, a moment later, the director of the film, Damien Chazelle, saw the envelope and addressed the audience. A mistake had been made and they did not win. A stagehand ran to the crew, handing them the real winner's name, Moonlight. Moonlight had won Best Picture that year, not La La Land. There was a moment of people thinking that this is some kind of a joke, but they were being very sincere. The best part of this moment is Ryan Gosling, the lead of the movie and nominee for Best Actor, trying to contain his laughter. He wasn't even upset. It was more like a, you gotta be kidding me. Something tells me that Faye and Warren will not be asked to present another award at any show for the foreseeable future. Number 6, John Travolta. A little while back in 2014, John Travolta flubbed the name of one of the most famous women in musical theater history. At the Oscars that year, he was supposed to introduce Idina Menzel ahead of her performance of Let It Go, cause in case you didn't know, she's Elsa. She was also Elphaba in the musical Wicked and a ton of other shows as well, but for this event she was promoting the film and showcasing a piece of music that became one of the most popular songs for the next 3 years. He was so confident in his delivery, he introduced the audience to the wickedly talented, the one and only Adele Dazeem. The moment spawned some parody Twitter accounts and even an Adele Dazeem random name generator that turned Jared Leto into Jed Lopez and Matthew McConaughey into Michael Mausolean. into Michael Mausolean. The following year, the two appeared on stage together where Idina decided to drop a little revenge. She was set to introduce the next round of nominees, and as a little joke, the Oscars executives decided to invite John Travolta back to team up with Adele. She introduced him by his new name, Glom Gazingo. The interaction between them seemed a bit forced, but it was nice that they played the entire thing off as funny rather than an actual incident. Since then, John is to triple check things before he presents at any award shows, but for all we know, he's just stopped being invited to them altogether. Number 5, Kanye West. There are so many reasons that this man is banned from ever attending another VMA, a Golden Globe, an Oscar ceremony, anything in his entire life. We can chalk it up to him literally being a cuckoo. After all, he was fired from basically every single company that he worked for after posting some pretty bad tweets that I can't get into at this time. But the reality is that Kanye was banned in the mid-2010s following several public mishaps as well as one on stage that is still talked about to this day. An incident took place in 2009 at the VMAs when Taylor Swift attempted to accept her award for Best Female Artist of the Year. Kanye stormed the stage and took the microphone from her hands. He then told her that he was gonna let her finish, but he wanted to tell everyone that Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. Taylor still jokes about that incident to this day. While she was in Mexico City during her Eras tour this year, she took the stage to play her piano when the crowd started chanting her name. She said that having someone interrupt you by chanting your name is the best way to be interrupted, and she should know. Kanye was issued a ban from the following year of the VMAs and has since received a lifetime ban from both MTV and has been blacklisted from most other award shows indefinitely. Number 4, Kevin Hart. Kevin was set to host the Oscars back in 2019, but he was fired last minute after a stand-up bit and a series of tweets resurfaced that painted him as anti-LGBTQ+. In 2009, Kevin sent out a series of tweets that contained jokes about his feelings should his son potentially come out in the future, making a comment that he would break a dollhouse over his head if he saw him playing with it. He said some harsher stuff that really should not be repeated, and I'm not gonna, but I can understand why a lot of people found these comments pretty rude and damaging, cause they were! At the time, the comments didn't go unnoticed, but they just kind of flew under the radar a little bit in terms of media coverage. He then repeated these jokes on stage in his seriously funny stand-up special. There were also a few homophobic jokes written into the script of the film Get Hard, which I have seen, and I gotta agree it's a little bit too much. In 2015, when asked about the tweets, he told people that he would not repeat the jokes that he made today, but the only reason was that the times were getting too sensitive. When he was announced as a host in 2018, the internet collectively put a case together as to why he should not be the host. The Oscars were forced to fire him in the role of the host due to the alarming numbers of hate mail that they were receiving on a daily basis. Before they actually let him go, they did give him an option to either apologize and own up or just to be let go. Hart released an Instagram video where he decided to pass on an apology because he had already addressed the issue several times and acknowledged the rights and wrongs of the incident. The statement only led to more online outrage and sparked a massive debate. But the next day, he released a separate statement apologizing for his actions and words, and especially to the community that he insulted. Although he apologized and things seem to get better now, he is not asked to do any gig like that ever again. Number 3, Roberto Benigni. In 1998, after being announced as the winner of the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film and a ton of other Oscars that night, Roberto was stoked. So stoked that he forgot where he was for a second. He leaped to his feet and stood on the back of the seat in front of him, literally using a man's head to keep himself balanced. He proceeded to walk over a few people before jumping back into the aisle and running up to accept his award as normal. The moment was not seen as some crazy act, as this was a night that Roberto and Italy as a whole were honored with the film Life is Beautiful, receiving over 20 nominations and winning 10 of them. Roberto's excitement did cause the Academy and a few other awards shows to update their policies. No parkour during the ceremony, folks. Number Number 2. Britney Spears. Britney Spears was finally released from her conservatorship in 2021 and has since been on a new journey of self-realization and expression. In the past year or two, Britney has been involved with a ton of TV moments, usually interviews, but she recently released a memoir detailing her experiences. She revealed a ton of juicy information about herself and her family, but we've already done dedicated videos on that, so if you're curious, just, go back and check them out. As we are all aware, Hollywood loves to take books, whether they're fiction or non-fiction, as long as it's a good story, they're gonna use it. Well, Britney's memoir might be one of those books, but considering her behavior on TikTok in the past few months, something tells me that's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. For those of you who don't know, a series of videos were posted to Britney's TikTok where she seems to be dancing with some stabby jabby things and told everyone that they were fake. Fake or real? Someone needs to check on Britney, because no one's letting her any award shows anytime soon with that attitude. And at number 1, Will Smith. Will Smith is banned from every single awards show from now until the end of time. If you don't know why, you have been living under a rock for the last 2 years, say hi to Patrick for me. Number 10. Will Smith. Now, if it was just the whole Oscars thing that tainted his image, I would leave him alone and just ignore the situation. But this man is humiliated on almost a daily basis now, thanks to his wife, partner thingy, Jada Pinkett Smith. This woman shares something new about her relationship every other day of the week. She dominated the front page media for a solid 4 or 5 months out of this year alone. I'll be honest, it went by very fast, so I just don't remember much. What I do remember is the photos of Will Smith just looking defeated, and he's usually sharing the same space as Jada. Jada literally looks like a Disney villain every time a camera is pointed at her face, like she knows where the king's missing daughter is, but she's not gonna tell anyone until she gets that crown. Before releasing a tell-all book revealing even more dirty secrets, she just took the hamper out and dumped it on the dining room table. I swear, every time this woman watches Will Smith wipe his nose, she has to do a breakfast television appearance the next day. This man may have slapped Chris Rock on live TV, sure, but that is nothing compared to the absolute mental damage that woman does to him constantly. I have never seen a woman share more about her marriage, despite the absolute trash that marriage contains. She told the world that Tupac proposed to her from prison. She said she's been separated from Will for 7 years. She talks about how many times she's done it with Will Smith, and just so much more. That poor man. Number 9, Kendall Jenner. Members of the Kardashian family will make a few appearances on this list. Kendall has been called out for using Photoshop in one of her photos online a few times, but there was just the most obvious Photoshop fail of all time after she posted a photo of herself in a bikini where she appears to be turning into a werewolf. Her fingers on her right hand are melting down into a straight line, making it look like she's morphing before our very eyes. Her sister Kim called her out on social media for the flub, and so did the rest of the internet. But there are plenty of examples of Kardashians being caught in a lie or indulging in a moment, but the best part of this entire thing was that she doubled down by posting a photo of her normal hands slumped down so that people could see the difference. On top of that flub, she was also humiliated further when a clip from that show, The Kardashians, showed Kendall attempting to chop some cucumbers, and she clearly doesn't know how to do it. Like, someone's been making her cucumbers since she was 3. Number 8, Zac Efron. Zac rose to fame as a Disney darling, playing the lead role of Troy Bolton in High School Musical. Since his Disney days, Zac has lent his voice and face to several projects, but the red carpet event that kinda tainted his image for the animated Dr. Seuss movie The Lorax. Zac, who voiced the main character of the movie, was walking the red carpet when he suddenly handed his assistant something from his pocket. As he handed them the product, something fell out of his pocket and onto the ground. And that something is a word that I'm not allowed to say online, so let's call them love tubes. Zac's love tube wrapper was flat on the red carpet right there for the world to see. He quickly picked it up, but the damage had already been done. In the first interview following the incident, the interviewer asked Zac if anything unplanned had happened during his walk. He then explained that it was a complete accident, there was no pre-show pocket check that could have prevented it. Well, Illumination didn't like that excuse, and they didn't seem to like their main star being associated with such adult projects. So when that Lorax sequel came out, they were planning to replace Zac with another actor. But I guess whoever they picked wasn't famous enough because that project got canned, and Zac found work in Baywatch. Good for you, buddy. Number 7, Chris Evans. As many of us know, double checking your work is important, especially when the destination is the public. Now, this was a lesson that Chris Evans, aka Captain America himself, had to learn the hard way. A little while back, Chris posted a screen video to his Instagram, but forgot to actually crop the video out. So, as it finished, fans were greeted to a brief glimpse of Chris's Long John Silver. The video was quickly taken down by all accounts, this seems like something that he did not want to post online. He was quiet for a bit, but even his Marvel co-stars started throwing him a roast or two. Mark Ruffalo tweeted that since Donald Trump was in office at the time, that there was nothing that Chris could do to embarrass himself. Chris only acknowledged the incident in a brief post a few weeks later, telling people that now that he had their attention, they should go vote on November 3rd. That's one way to get the word of mouth going, eh? Hey, Chris Evans just showed me his dingling. Vote Biden! Of all the humiliating moments on this list, this should have been one of the bigger ones, but Chris received little to no flack for the accident. Even Marvel didn't care, and they care about everything. Number 6, Elon Musk. Elon is one of the most important men in the world, being the CEO of not only Tesla, but Twitter, aka X. A few years ago, Elon revealed a new design for an electric truck that looked sleek and metallic called the Cybertruck. The demonstration took place in front of a massive crowd where Elon revealed the truck, and he confidently told them that his truck was incredibly strong, nearly impossible to break the windows or damage the structural integrity in any way, shape, or form. So a massive metal ball was tossed at its windows, and guess what? It broke. The ball kinda stayed there for a second before revealing a massive hole, but as Elon said, it didn't go through the windows, so that's a bonus. The audience found this amusing, and Elon laughed the whole thing off, but following the event, he discovered the incident was to blame on the order in which it was tested. During the tests before the presentation, a sledgehammer was swung at its doors and seemed to hold up pretty well. However, the hammer hit the truck in a sweet spot because a small little crack formed in the corner of the window. When the demo took place, the force made the crack massive and it just broke. It's nice to know what happened, but it doesn't change the fact that his near indestructible truck couldn't even handle a sledgehammer swing. Like, come on, bro, it's lame. Number 5, Kendall Jenner. Again! Sponsored brand deals can mean a lot of money for the people involved. Just look at every cologne on the planet. They hire someone to stand on a beach for 30 seconds and they make $1 million. Around 2017, Kendall decided to partner with the soda brand Pepsi to create a commercial that would act as both an ad and a PSA against hatred. The commercial consisted of hundreds of people from different parts of the world drinking Pepsi, and eventually everyone comes together on the streets of what appears to be New York. Kendall looks to the crowd, wipes off her makeup, and follows suit. The cringy moment comes when the crowd of people appear to be at a standoff with the police, and Kendall walks through them and just hands an officer a can of Pepsi. He sips it, crowd cheers, they swarm the cops who are suddenly cool with everything that's going on. Life's great. This ad was meant to be a political statement following the passing of several African American men and women in the United States, aiming to bring people together, which it did, but for the wrong reasons. The world collectively just cringed at this absolute mess, forcing Kendall to drop an apology video on that season's premiere of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She may have apologized, but we will never forget the weirdest commercial of all time. Number 4, Milli Vanilli. In 1989, the duo of Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus were on the top of the world. A fairly unknown crew had quickly rise to number 2 on the Billboard 100 list. They began performing their hit song in front of thousands of fans across the world, and people were hooked. Until very shortly into their rise to fame, they were performing in front of 80,000 people at a theme park in Bristol, Connecticut. They took the stage with their well-known dance moves and started singing, but when the chorus came in, it stayed. It repeated over and over again on a busted loop. The track that they had been lip-syncing to was trash, and the truth had been revealed. Not only did they not sing a single note of their hit song, Girl You Know It's True, but the song itself was actually stolen from another group a few years prior. Milli Vanilli were a disgrace, and what was worse is that only a few days before they were exposed to the world, they had won an award for the tune and they had to give it back. Ow! Number 3, Ellen DeGeneres. When Dakota Johnson was a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2019, she took a very subtle and pulled back approach to addressing an issue with the host. Ellen asked Johnson when her birthday was and then claimed that she had never received an invitation for the party. The 50 Shades star quickly smiled, revealed that she actually had in fact extended that invitation, but apparently Ellen did not reply. Ellen was baffled and asked Dakota if she was sure. There was no possible way, right? And Dakota said, ask literally anyone here, specifically your producer Jonathan. Following the comment, Ellen is just searching the room for Jonathan with an angry expression on her face, which is understandable because she got outed as a liar on her own show. Unfortunately for Ellen, that wouldn't be the last time, as a couple months later, a lot of stories and tweets and rumors started circulating about Ellen mistreating her staff, and eventually the show got canceled. So looks like Dakota delivered 50 Shades of oops. That sucks. Number 2, Justin Bieber. In 2015, Justin was performing on the Today Show, debuting his new song, What Do You Mean? During his performance, he got super excited and started dancing and singing his track, as one does. But moments later, he got caught on air dissing the camera operator, saying that he might as well not dance since they don't even move an inch. He said next time he won't dance because it's just a waste of effort, and he was visibly annoyed as he ended his time on the show. Fans from Justin were quick to question his aggression in the moment. Before being cut off by the commercial break, Justin started to rant about what he even does this for, and if they're just gonna ignore him and cut him off, then what's the point? Not long after this on-air mishap, Justin announced that he was taking a break from music. The two seemed to be unrelated, but you never know. Embarrassment's a pretty big deal. Maybe he had some real regrets when it comes to scolding the cameraman that did nothing to you before that. And out of all the mistreatment scandals surrounding Justin Bieber, this one is honestly just the silliest and pretty embarrassing. When Justin appeared on the set of CSI, he actually upset an entire crew with his behavior. According to several people who were on that show, Justin put his fist through a cake that was on the craft service table. He dismissed the claims as baseless, but a lot of people saw him do that. So just go into your room and be quiet, Justin. Just be quiet. Number 1, Tom Cruise. Matt Lauer is not just a terrible man who turned out to be a creepy creepo creepy. He was once a popular talk show host in the early 2000s. During an interview with Tom Cruise in 2005, the topic of scientific beliefs came up that quickly sent Tom into a rant about psychiatry. Somehow the topic got into Ritalian and pseudosciences. I don't know, Tom yelled at Matt about knowing more stuff about him, like he had some inside information that he was secretly a therapist. If someone gave Tom Cruise a therapy license, quit your job. The interview came at the height of Tom's very public descent into chaotic badness, becoming very famous for his outlandish beliefs and his wish to push them onto other people. The highlight of this interview, though, comes when Cruise was asked about his previous criticism of Brooke Shields, who took anti-sad time pills, to which he responded by calling her a glib. I looked up the definition. That means fluent and voluble, but insecure and shallow. That's not insulting. This was only one of several interviews from 2005 that I could discuss today. We could talk about Katie Holmes on Oprah. We could talk about him on a breakfast morning. We could talk about him waking up in the morning and brushing his teeth. This guy is terrible.
At number 10, we have how she felt about Desperate Housewives. While she enjoyed working on the set and had a great time with the cast and crew, it dominated her career, and she wanted to be known for something other than Desperate Housewives. In a nutshell, the show was about how one of the housewives who passed saw her friends, saw the world, and saw her personal experiences. But over the span of the 15 years the show took place, they gradually learn about the dark and hidden things about the other women, and what they are hiding behind their white picket fences. The show had 8 seasons in total, and won many awards and accolades. And Felicity even won an award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. So why would she want to break away from all that? Well, after the success of the show, she had a hard time landing roles that matched the success of the show. She has many IMDb credits, but all of them were either small roles or not blockbuster hits, which had to have put a dent in her confidence. This brings us to the next point. At number 9, we have how she's overshadowed by her husband. She dated and is now married to William H. Macy, and they have 2 daughters together. But with his decades of success, his most notable role being in Shameless, it's safe to say that people would recognize him first if they're out in public together. 15 years is a long time to be with someone, especially when it comes to Hollywood. He even helped her land some of the roles in some of the movies he was in as well, which led them to both earn their stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2012. It's good for them that they can actively work together, and it's important to be supportive of one another. But there is a definite success gap between the two of them, married or not. It could be the fact that Felicity was just never cut out for bigger roles, but as long as she is happy with where her career has gotten her, that's what counts. At number 8, we have how she's a Nepo baby. Now, it wasn't that she was born into a famous family, but she was born into a wealthy family, with her presumed father being a partner at Morgan Stanley. One of her grandfathers was the founder of the Peter Cartridge Company, a Baptist minister and an author, and her great-grandfather was a St. Louis businessman. Because of the family wealth, she attended a private school along with her 6 other siblings, and attended a New York university and an art school in London. This is what led her to have a stage career before reaching the big screen, but we'll get more into that later. While she hasn't directly been labeled a Nepo baby, she insists her success came from her auditions and her natural acting talent, rather than the fact that her parents paid for her to have such a prestigious acting education. At number 7, we have how she started as a stage performer. As I mentioned before, she did study acting and began acting in theater, as a lot of actors do. She's acted in 17 different stage productions, with most of them actually being in New York. She also continued to star in stage productions up until 2015, while taking breaks in between to star on screen. She hasn't said anything about her progression from theater to television, so we don't have a good inside look at how she managed the transition or how she handled it. But with her having numerous lead roles, it's safe to say that her stage acting paid off enough for her to become a television actor, even if they were only small roles in small movies. At number 6, we have her trying to be a parent. It's not easy to be a parent, and it makes it even harder when both you and your husband are regularly working individuals whose entire livelihood is based on landing roles. In the year 2000, she had her first daughter, and in 2002, they welcomed their second daughter. However, when Sophia, her eldest, was born, she felt like she wasn't fit for motherhood, and that she just kept making mistake after mistake while being sleep deprived. She starred in Door to Door in 2002 and has been acting regularly since then, starring in Christmas with the Cranks, Transamerica, Raising Helen, and Phoebe's Wonderland, to name some of the bigger ones. This couldn't have been easy with 2 young daughters at home. While acting seems to run in the family, considering one of her daughters is currently in school for acting, but it wasn't always sunshine. This brings me to the next point. At number 5, we have how she didn't want to be a bad mother. No parent wants to hear that they failed or that they didn't do enough, or their actions caused their child to grow up the way they did. So because of this, both Felicity and William tried to raise their girls out of the media's eye, which is what we know is probably for the best, considering some children of famous people who grow up being famous are a little out of touch with reality. William said in an interview that when Felicity found out she was pregnant, she tried to gain all the knowledge she could about parenting through books, and would read stacks of different parenting books in order to do her best as a mother. Their oldest daughter, Sophia, wanted to follow in her parents' footsteps, and is becoming an actress herself, but not without a hand lent by her mother, which I'll get into later. Both Felicity and William are super supportive of her and say that she's a talented actress. So we hope that success will come her way when she graduates from college, even if her entry was paved smoother than others. At number 4, we have how she didn't win an award for American Crime. For some background knowledge, American Crime is a crime drama TV show that had 3 seasons, with Felicity being one of the lead roles in all 3 seasons. The main cast play a different role each season, but are ultimately all connected together, centered around the crime of the season. Well, the show was a hit, with the first 2 seasons scoring 95% in Rotten Tomatoes, and the 3rd season scoring a whopping 100%. The first season was nominated for 27 awards, the 2nd season was nominated for 11 awards, and the 3rd season was nominated for 2 awards. She alone was nominated for 8 of those awards, but she didn't win a solo award. And the entire main cast won a satellite award for being the best television ensemble cast. So you can bet she was a little upset at the fact that she was constantly nominated, but never quite good enough to win. At number 3, we have Transamerica. The movie received well with critics, but was a lot to take in for some fans. It's got a very long and complicated plotline that makes no sense in some places. And one of the places that left some fans disappointed was that Felicity played a trans female character. It was also widely disregarded because it was released in 2005, and people weren't nearly as open to the movie concept as they would be now. But people thought that Felicity's character should have been played by an actual trans woman who would have had a more genuine understanding of the character, and what the character goes through throughout the movie. The movie was originally created for a film festival, so it never saw theaters, and it was rated a 6.8 out of 10, according to 145 people. However, she did win a Golden Globe for her performance, and critics thought it was a great movie, considering it won 12 awards at a few different award ceremonies. But with how fast the world changes and how quickly Hollywood's gaze changes, it's still overlooked. At number 2, we have how she is practically invisible in today's world. While she had a steady career, her name is only known because of the scandal she participated in a few years ago. Even if she won a handful of awards, she was never in anything monumental enough to be acknowledged by the modern world, or to be remembered as an important character of film history. While being married to a famous actor as well helps with her relevance, it's not working as well as some may think. She has gone back to stage acting, which isn't nearly widely appreciated as acting on screen. So she's going backward rather than forward in her career. But at least she's still trying, right? This proves that even if your star is on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you aren't always relevant to Hollywood. And last but not least, at number 1, we have the Varsity Blues scandal. The point most of you have been waiting for, since she just came forward and talked about it for the first time since it happened. And there have been a lot of different reactions. The Sparks Note version of what happened is her daughter Sophia, the one I mentioned before who's in school for acting. Well, her practice SAT scores were subpar, so Felicity paid someone $15,000 to improve her score enough for her to be accepted into the college she's still attending. Felicity claimed she had no choice but to break the law for her daughter to pursue her dream. And she wasn't the only one who was caught during the scandal. Rich parents have been doing it for years, but the fact that she claimed she saw no other option for her daughter if she didn't, and how she wanted her to have a chance at a future, as if she couldn't study harder or work harder like most American students. She even went as far to say that when the FBI entered her mansion and woke up her and her daughters, she thought it was a joke until she was put in handcuffs. She was in jail for 11 days before being released. This just proves how far famous parents will go to make sure their child comes out on top, which we have seen a lot in celebrities.